We're shaking, folks. Back with another reaction, back with some more Britney Spears. And indeed, big shout out to major friend and champion of the channel, Adam, who suggested this deep dive in the first place. And the first tune that we listened to was quite a shock sonically, and lyrically it was enjoyable not only to hear what I could catch, but also to read what people had commented. And ultimately, it did seem there'd be a number of people interested in more Britney reactions. So the next tune that Adam pointed my attention to is on the same album, Femme Fatale, which I'm forgetting in the moment what year it's from. It's 2011, okay? So yeah, the next tune you pointed my attention to is Criminal, which is the last track on the record. And yeah, Criminal, it's a single word title. Those tend to be tougher to get a read on, even if the word itself has a lot of meaning or even multiple meanings. There's no other context, there's no other part of the phrase to give you a sense of where the song might be headed, but a criminal, and in fact criminal, fair to say, it's both a noun and an adjective. Certainly, I think the original usage has been more of the noun, the idea of someone who engages in illegal or immoral behavior, often some combination of both. But yeah, ultimately, I think criminal is used as an adjective, maybe in more like social or colloquial settings, meaning the idea of, oh, what he said was absolutely criminal, like he should not be able to get away with that. The idea of something being criminal. Now, I suppose that could still, his behavior was criminal, he was stealing. I feel like it could be more literal, but I think in, pop culture, it's used for transgressions that are perhaps less troubling in a legal sense and more criminal in a interpersonal or emotional regard. So let's find out if any of that is relevant. This is Britney Spears. The tune is Criminal, and it's the final track on her 2011 album, Femme Fatale. I like that. Like an Andean sound a bit.
He is a hustler, he's no good at all. He is a loser, he's a bum. He lies, he bluffs, he's unreliable. He is a sucker with a gun. I know you told me I should stay away. I know you said he's just a dog astray. He's a bad boy with a tainted heart, and even I know this ain't smart. But mama, I'm in love with a criminal, and this type of love isn't rational, it's physical. Mama, please don't cry, I will be alright.
Sorry to break that to you, Mom.
All reason aside, I just can't deny love the guy.
I love this. Again, like Andean flute.
He is a villain by the devil's law. He is a killer just for fun.
I like that chiptune synth.
Snitching unpredictable. He's got no conscience, he got none. Oh, I know, should let go, but no. 'Cause he's a bad boy with a tainted heart, and even I know this ain't smart. But mama, I'm in love with a criminal, and this type of love isn't rational, it's physical. Mama, please don't cry, I will be alright. All reason aside, I just can't deny love the guy. And he's got my name tattooed on his lucky charm, so I guess it's okay, he's with me. And I hear people talk
feels like you could spare Mom of that particular detail. I like that backing vocal. This one's cool and a different flavor than the first track that we listened to. That's cool. Again, yeah, I was sympathetic from the very beginning. I love, certain woodwind sounds and tracks, and right away that flute, which, it gave me this, Andean, like pan flute type of sound. I don't know if that was like a proper flute or like a synth kit flute. But either way, it was a really nice touch to the track, and the tune itself, it got more energetic, and it definitely, would rise to multiple levels along the way. But the sort of smooth and light feeling of the track was, indicated very quickly with that element. And yeah, it sounds like a pretty straightforward idea that she's in love with someone who's done some bad things and is, I'm not sure if he's like on the run, if it's like an active situation, or whether it's just someone who's, been in jail, or someone who's done bad things and is sort of known to have done that. And I've talked about it in many a deep dive, and it feels like, maybe none more so than Depeche Mode, because a lot of their songs are about the psychology of love, but maybe in situations where it's not really healthy or ideal. And yeah, the idea that love isn't rational, it's just the way human affairs go. And even sometimes, if people are lucky enough to find a great relationship and, they end up staying together for decades, and like, that's fantastic, and I applaud that. But it's not always the case with people, and perhaps it's the minority situation. And, people like maybe become very infatuated, maybe genuinely fall in love, but over time circumstances or even attitudes change, and maybe things don't feel the way they did, and people fall apart, people cheat on each other, they make mistakes, they do things that ultimately cause problems, and then they find themselves to be in a very different place, and it doesn't feel rational, but I still feel so strongly, I can't just walk away. And it's, there's a disconnect between your emotional feeling and the logical part of your brain. And here she's saying, it probably would be better if I wasn't in love with a criminal, someone who has this past or maybe this present, and ultimately someone who, is maybe more reputable, or someone who has, a clean track record when it comes to the way they've conducted their affairs and the decisions they've made. But, it's like, I'm hot, I'm passionate, like we've had this physical connection, which again, I'll make the joke that it feels like you could convey to your mom that I know it's not great, I know it's not smart, I know it's not logical, but I'm just, this guy and I, we have this connection, whatever. But to say like, it's not rational, it's physical, it's like, all right, maybe TMI, as the younger people say, but yeah, ultimately I am amused at that little detail. But in the end, I wonder, we don't really, it sounds like, get Mom's reaction to all this. It's like more the telling of the situation to Mom, and, an appeal for clemency, shall we say, interpersonal understanding, and a degree of mercy, rather than harshly judging her, saying like, how could you possibly be with this person? Look what he's done, or, it's dangerous, you could be in danger. So, yeah, a cool tune to follow narratively, a sweet tune sonically. I liked her vocal delivery. There was no moment where she was trying to, fly over the rooftops, but I liked the rhythm of the way she was hitting some of the lines. She had sort of a playful delivery in parts, so, yeah, obviously very new to her music outside of some of her very early hits, which I imagine, and as I've already learned to a very limited extent, are not reflective of the larger, longer timeline of her career. And again, people have commented, including Adam when I was preparing to do this deep dive, just about aspects of her personal history relative to, the music she was making. And ultimately, I imagine it's something I will continue to learn about more as we go through this deep dive. But shout out to Adam once again for suggesting this, and providing, I think it's 10 or a dozen tunes that we'll begin this deep dive with, and who knows what we can do after that. So do let me know what you have to say about this one. And again, I wonder, anytime I listen to a tune that's a beginning tune or an ending track of a record, I'm always thinking like how it fits with the larger album. I've heard one other tune from this album, so it's not like a complete unknown to me, but obviously it is mostly unknown the way this album plays out. And you know, even when a record isn't a concept album, it can still be an interesting journey to hear the way, you know, the tracks are laid out and the particular sequence of, you know, faster tunes, slower tunes, heavier tunes emotionally, lighter tunes, and you know, just the arrangement of things. And in particular, I'm always curious how you end a record, and that's a cool tune, like again, without even knowing the rest of the album. I feel like that's a track that leaves you with a fun feeling about, you know, the storytelling quality and the sonics and her vocal delivery. So again, without knowing more and looking forward to hearing what people had to say, it's a cool tune to end a record with. So let me know what you think. Shout out to all the people who will be here for this deep dive, which again, the first reaction suggested it might not be a few, but more than that. So big ups to all of you. Do let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.